guys. I'm here with another hands-free yoga practice for you today, and this one in particular is going to use a yoga block for some ways to challenge us and also help us get a little bit of a better stretch in a couple of places. You might like to have a second block for one of the stretches that we'll do, or a pillow or a blanket or something to hold your head up, so just keep that in mind. And for the hands-free part, what I mean by that is that we won't be doing any upper body weight bearing on our hands. We'll still use our hands to grab the block, etc., and maybe give ourselves some help to change position, etc. We're going to start standing up with a little bit of cat-cow-like movement up and down into a forward fold. So I'm going to take my hands behind my head with elbows wide, starting somewhat neutral in the spine, best I can feel. And then as I inhale, I'm going to go toward extension by drawing elbows back and doing a little arch, a little back bend, cow. As I exhale, trying to draw the elbows towards each other, and then take that all the way down into a forward fold. Bringing the belly a little closer toward the thighs, and knees can absolutely stay bent as much as you need to in that forward fold. So now that we know what we're doing there, we'll round up and then go back open and then round back down. And we'll just move slowly back and forth a few times. And you can, pause when you need to if it feels good, or to catch up with your breathing, right? And this time, once I'm down in the fold, I'm going to stay there and release my arms and just kind of swing and sway a little bit down the bottom. Okay. I'm going to grab my block while I'm here and come on up to standing. And we're going to warm up the shoulders a little bit, using the block between the hands out in front of us, giving the block a good squeeze. We're going to make big circles with the shoulders, thinking forward, up, back, and down, getting those four components of shoulder movement, but smoothing it out so that it's feeling a little bit more circular. And then switching directions. It doesn't take long for the arms to get tired, does it? It's just a block. Okay, and then from forward, we're going to bend the knees like chair pose as we reach that block up. And then we'll release the legs and the block back forward, back and forth. From here, stay. Let's bend the elbows. Block goes behind the head, back and forth a few times. Straighten the legs, rest the arms down for a moment, maybe a little wiggling. All right. We're going to take that block back up overhead from here, and let's try a side bend to the right in this position, and then trying to keep the the left, and then look back forward. Back and forth a few times. Come on up, side bend to the left. From that side bend, adding a little rotation to the right. One more. All right, come on up. From here, we're gonna make the legs work now. The arms probably are feeling a little bit tired. You're gonna take that block right at the lower belly where it can also kind of feel like it's gonna go into the hip crease area. Gonna bend the knees back like chair. And from here, I'm gonna take my elbows to the front side of that block, hands in prayer, to keep that block in place best I can. And from here, I'm gonna do a little bit of like a chair warrior 3 march from side to side, trying to keep the block stable as I take one leg up and back, and then back down and switching side to side. Try not to drop the block. One more each side. Okay. From here, I'm going to grab hold of the sides of the block. Between the forearms, bottom edge of the block is right at the elbows. Palms are facing in toward my face. Go ahead and come up out of the legs once you have that situated. We're going to do a little bit of movement in the direction of dancer pose. So start in a neutral spine, and dancer pose is a back bend. So what we're going to do from here is, as we reach the arms up, thinking that, like one day we might flip our grip and grab the foot overhead, maybe in my next lifetime, not in this one, I'm going to lift the left foot and really squeeze to feel the hammies and feel a little bit of an arch. And then I'm going to bring that knee forward and tap block to knee. Inhale. Exhale. Let's try maybe 2 more, nice and slow. From here, I'm going to scoot that block back into the hip crease area and squeeze it, hands to hips. I'm going to try extending this leg forward. It may not go all the way, obviously. One more. All right. From here, I'm going to release and get that block set up again in between forearms, palms face in, and we'll do that stuff on the other side, like toward dancer-ish position. Lifting the right foot this time, all right? So I'm gonna lift the foot, bend the knee, give a good squeeze, and then lift the arms, hands and foot reaching towards each other, maybe not really. Exhale, knee forward, block, taps the knee. Let's keep going. One more time. All right, and then move that block into that hip crease area, give it a squeeze, and try extending that leg back and forth-ish. All right, let go of that, take that foot down, block, tall height, down into a nice forward fold from here.
Squeezing the block to feel the inner thighs. Give us a little bit of assistance. Do whatever you want with your arms. Knees can bend as much as you need to. Okay. From here, I'm going to remove that block, set it down, and take a generous step back with the left foot and get that knee down. I'm going to move that block over to where I can have my left hand on it. Probably the higher height is going to be easier to make space. What we're going to do with this right leg, I'll move that so you can see a little bit, is turn the toes out a bit so it's angled out at a diagonal a bit. And we're going to externally rotate, roll it out, and internally rotate, roll it in. Back and forth a few times. Okay, and then we're going to stay in that external rotation. And you can change that block setup however you feel helpful. We're going to turn into a twist from here. And we're going to add some work for right arm, left leg. So right hand just sort of reaching toward the floor. And we're going to reach it up as that back foot lifts and give the foot a tap. And then go back down. Back and forth. Letting the chest turn as we open. Hold here, lightly touch. And release. I'm going to get this front leg back to center, quote unquote, normal. All right, from here, I'm going to come upright and then try to catch just a smidge of hang time as I step this knee back so that I'm kneeling on both knees. Okay, and then I'm going to grab that block again. Think tailbone down, right? A little squeeze of the legs. Holding onto the block. We're going to lean back as we reach the block forward. And then come back up. Right? Not camel. We're not doing a back bend, not arching back, just leg work. Let's do 2 more. Okay. From here, I'm going to take that block on the low, height, and lengthwise behind my left knee. I'm going to bring the right foot forward a little bit. And then I'm going to try to sit on top of that block until I feel it smashing my calf. This one's called calf smash, right? So it's a way to sort of massage, more of a held, like a foam rolling thing, but in a held position. And if you want to multitask and work a little bit on the lower calf area on the front leg, bring that foot a little closer in and you can kind of lean into that and you might feel that just above the Achilles area. And we're going to need this stretching, right? Because we're working our legs a lot when we're not using our hands as much. Okay, I'm going to come up out of that and bring that right foot back forward a touch so it's more low lunge position. I'm going to have that block over to the right just in case I'm going to use it for what's to come. Hands on hips. Let's come up to a high lunge, lifting the back knee, arms up. Open to warrior 2. Take a moment to settle into that warrior 2, even out through the hips and the pelvis. Inhale, let's reach both arms up toward the ceiling, grab the right wrist. Exhale, tug toward the back leg, a la reverse warrior. Breathe. Inhale, come up, switch wrists, Exhale, pull toward the front leg, a la side angle. And let's release the arms to what we would regularly do in side angle. And then straighten the leg, coming up to triangle. All right. From here, we're gonna go into half moon. And I've got the block there in case, but I'm gonna try and see if I can keep it a no hands half moon. So we'll try lifting the top leg, whatever you wanna do with this top arm. Again, the block's there just in case. Let's try bending the standing leg and straightening it back up again. Let's try one more. And then I'm gonna see if I can go to eagle from here, bending the standing leg, crossing knee over knee, left leg on top, left arm under. And just when I've had enough, unwrapping, folding into standing splits. And then releasing into a nice easy fold from there. Feeling nice and warm in that right leg. And then we'll do all that stuff on the other side. So we'll take a big step back with the right foot and take that knee down for a lunge. I'm gonna move that block over to have my right hand on, just to make some space. All right, left toes, all right, turn out at a diagonal sort of angle, and then we'll rotate out and in a few times. Keep the out position and maybe we adjust that block if it feels like we need to. Left hand is approaching the mat. We'll be going into that twist, but working the left arm, right leg at the same time. So as we lift the back foot, left arm reaches up, chest turns, tap, and then take it back down. Hold, release. All right, I'm gonna get that front foot back straight ahead, come upright, and again, I'm gonna try to maybe catch just a little bit of hang time, balancing on one knee before coming to both knees. We're gonna do those lean backs again, but this time, let's squeeze the block between the thighs like we did in that standing forward fold a little while ago. Give it a good squeeze, right? Think tailbone down best you can. Whatever you want to do with your arms, maybe they reach forward, maybe they just stay down, right? Again, not camel, not a back bend. So try to keep as best you can a straight line. Gaze forward. Don't throw your head back. Two more. Alrighty, gonna take that block from here, behind the right knee for that calf smash. Left foot comes forward a bit, and then we're gonna try to sit on that block and feel it pressing weight down into that gnarly muscle area. Maybe we add that lower calf Achilles area stretch on the other leg. This is one of my favorite multitasking stretch positions. to warrior two. All right, just take a moment to situate things there. Inhale, both arms up. Grab left wrist, hug toward the back of the mat. Breathe. Inhale up, switch. Exhale, tuck forward. And then wipe my hip. Arms to regular side angle position. Straighten it up for triangle. All right, and then we'll try the half moon work, and we can have the block there for lightly touching, but maybe we attempt to not, and we'll try those little pulses in the standing leg, back and forth a few times, bending and straightening. It's really tough. Okay, and then we'll go into eagle, right leg on top, right arm under. Unwrapping, folding into standing splits. Oh, goodness. Releasing to an easy forward fold. And then let's widen the feet from here. We're going to come down to a squat. And if you had a second prop that you wanted to sit on, you could absolutely go for that if that felt better. We're going to see if we can maintain that squat position as we have the block forward and up. Then the elbows, block up, block forward. Let's try that a couple more times. Very tough. All right, and then let's have a seat. Keep your left knee bent, right leg forward. Right, plant that heel near your hip. Give a little hug and twist to the left. Now that we're down, we're staying down, don't worry. We're not gonna stand back up, although we're not done with our work, so don't get too excited. Okay, let's take that on the other side. Hug the leg, sit tall, and rotate. And let's release that twist. Both legs forward, sitting up nice and tall and feeling those sitting bones root down. We'll go into our seated forward fold from there. Doing our best to try not to round the back too much. Shoulders back, neck long, feet flexed. Okay, coming on up from here. All right, we're gonna do some work on our backs. I'm gonna set the block short height, long length, and I'm gonna put my right foot on top of that block. Get the left foot beside it about hip width, and then let's get the hips a little closer toward that setup. So that when we try this bridge work, we're not too far away from the feet. If you're too far away, it'll be that much harder. So you might have to adjust a little bit, closer in, etc.
We want to be in a place where we can feel the work of it, but again, where it's accessible and not totally impossible. So you may have to scoot a little closer. If it's too easy, scoot a little further away. Make sure that the block feels stable under your foot, okay? I like robot arms for this one, which is elbows bent and the elbows are right by your sides and the hands are up toward the ceiling so that we can sort of use that as a little bit of help as we do the leg work. If you want to do something different with your arms, that's cool too. Okay, so think lower back pressing down into the mat. Give the glutes a little squeeze. Lift the hips. Okay, from here, I'm going to take the left leg up toward the ceiling, point the toes, hips level. Let the hips dip a bit. Lift them back up. Extend that left leg forward. Take the leg back up. Dip the hips. Lift the hips. Leg forward. Leg up. 2 more rounds. Left foot down, hips and arms down. Hopefully, if you're like me, you felt all the work in the hammy area on that right side. So let's take that leg up and give it some love, give it a little stretch, maybe a little bit of a massage. All right, we gotta do that stuff on the other side. I think it's easier to come up and look at your setup and make sure it's in the right spot. So we'll have the left foot on the block this time. You can make sure that your right foot is out about hip width or so to start, and make sure the hips aren't too far away from your feet. And maybe you learned a little something about that on the first side and can adjust your stance accordingly. All right, choose your arm position. Low back down, squeeze the glutes. Lift the hips, trying to keep them level. We'll take the right leg up, point the toes. Dip the hips, lift the hips, leg forward, leg up. Hips down, hips up, leg forward, leg up. 2 more. Slowly. Okay, lower the foot, lower the hips, lower the arms. Extend that left leg up. Give it some love. Grab, massage, pull in, etc. All right. From here, we're going to go back into bridge, but more of a supported variation using the block as a resting place for our sacrum, right? That area right above your gluteal cleft, right? The block is different heights. I like medium. If you feel like you want less than that, right? You can do low. If you're real bendy, you can go high. Make sure it feels comfortable. So get it in one hand, lift your hips, slide that block underneath, and rest your sacrum on top. So it should be fairly low. Or just get to where it feels comfortable. It doesn't have to be exact. Every time I get to this, I just have to let out a nice big sigh because it feels wonderful and restful. So take a moment there to let that be felt. We're done with all the working stuff. Stretchy goodness from here on out. Have no fear. And speaking of stretchy goodness, if you want to add a little bit more of a stretch factor to this position, you can extend your legs forward, and that gives us some extension through the hips. Make sure that your back feels okay about that, right? It'll tend to be more of a back bend, obviously, so proceed with caution. always return to that first position when you feel like you need to. And from that first position, right, we'll get ready to lower. We'll get a hand ready to move the block. We'll press the hips up off of the block, slide it out, and then lower the hips. Taking a moment to let the back settle into the mat. Maybe a little bit of windshield wiper knees from side to side. All right, so we're gonna go into another more restful passive stretch from here. I'm going to use my blocks. I'm going to use both of them. So if you just have one, you can use it in between your shoulder blades. If that's too much, you can just do this on your back as well. If you've got a second prop of some sort, that one will be for your head. Remember, the block has different heights. Again, I like the medium height. That's kind of where I feel I am, somewhere in the middle in terms of flexibility. So I'm going to have that one between the shoulder blades. Might take a little bit of finagling to figure out where that is. And you want to make sure how your neck feels about that, right? So I'm going to use a second block on the low height to rest my head on. So you can decide how you want to manage that. And this is like a fish pose setup for the upper body. And I'm going to add bound angle legs to give a little bit of a stretch to inner thigh hip area. So you might do that as well. Soles of the feet together, knees wide. You don't have to do anything with your legs. You can have knees bent, legs forward, right? You can just do the upper body stretch. But we did use our legs a lot for this practice, and it might feel nice to give them some love. Let's take a few slow, deep breaths here. You can do whatever feels right with your arms, overhead, out beside you, down, right? Try a few different things, make sure you feel comfortable. I'm going to come out of my legs first, and then I'm going to be careful and gentle with myself as I come up. So I would use elbows down in some manner, tuck the chin as you lift your head, lift up, move your blocks, whatever you've got there, out of the way. We're going to come back down to our backs. And let's give the right knee hugging toward the chest, left leg down the mat. And we'll use our hands a little bit for this. Okay. And then we'll let go and see how much of that hip flexion we can maintain without using our hands. Take your arms out to the sides, just reaching out from your shoulders. And we're going to take the right leg a little more out to the right and then over across to the left. Back and forth a few times, trying to keep the shoulders down as we move the lower body. So we're starting with that, and then we'll do the opposite. All right, so I'm going to let that right leg come all the way over to the left and let my foot rest somehow there. From here, I'm going to turn palms up. And I'm going to keep my left arm where it is, out to the left. And I'm going to reach my right arm overhead, and it's kind of sliding across the floor. And as it gets over, I'm going to let my head turn with it as I reach that hand toward my left hand. And then trace back overhead and back out to the right. Let's do that again. And And this time when the right arm is back out to the right, we'll stay there. You can look over that shoulder if that feels okay. Or look up if you want to keep your neck more neutral. All right, roll that down to your back. Give that right knee one more little hug in. And then we'll do that stuff on the other side. Hug the left knee in, right leg down your mat. Give a nice squeeze. And then let go and see what happens. Okay, and then we'll reach the arms out wide. Let's do palms down to help us stabilize the shoulders as we take the left leg out to the left and then over across to the right. Back and forth from side to side with the lower body, but keeping the upper body more fixed. Okay, and I'll keep it over, let my foot rest, take the palms up. Left arm is going to reach overhead, sliding against the floor. I'll let my head start to turn, rolling all the way to that side, and then sliding back down to starting position. Back and forth a few times. Okay, let's hang out once we're back open. Roll that down to your back. One more hug on that left knee. And let's release all the way down for Shavasana. Close your eyes. Soften your jaw, your face. Let your breath just be natural and let yourself rest. Let's start to deepen the breath. And wiggle the fingers and toes. Circle wrists and ankles. Reach your arms overhead. Give yourself a long stretch. Give your knees a hug in toward your chest and rock from side to side. Rolling over to your side and resting there. And then gently press up to seated. Close your eyes and bring your hands together at your heart. Taking a moment to reflect on your practice and to acknowledge your efforts and your willingness to try some new crazy things. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to practicing with you again soon. Namaste.